Hello guys, this is Varinder. I am the IELTS tutor at 𝐴1 𝐓𝐴𝐬. Before we begin with this session, let me introduce myself. I have been teaching IELTS from a very long time at 𝐴1 𝐓𝐴𝐬, and we have taught thousands of students and helped them achieve the desired band scores in the first attempt. My personal score in IELTS is 9 in reading, 9 in listening, 8 in writing and 8 in speaking. So the purpose of making this video today is to help the students who are going to sit for their examination very soon, let's say after a week or after 15 days. Let's tackle all the modules for IELTS examination one by one. I will give you the tips and tricks that how you can encounter all the questions which you're getting in the examination in an easier manner, and you can crack the examination in your first attempt itself. Let's start with writing. Now writing is something which is Achilles heel for many students. The reason being, they don't understand that what are the requirements for IELTS. You might be very good with the linguistic skills. I'm not negating that fact. I'm not contending this idea. But what IELTS demands from you, whether or not you are presenting your answer according to that, will decide whether or not you get the desired band scores or not. And my target here today, whatever tips, whatever help I'll provide you, will be to achieve scores which I consider as good score in IELTS, 7, 7.5, 8 or 8.5. Scores such as 6 or 6.5 are very easy to achieve. Right? It does not require a lot of hard work, but scores which are 7 or above 7, definitely you need to work on some things so that you can get the scores. First thing in writing, which is weakness for many students, is their essay. Why is that? Because in essay, students don't understand what is grammatical range. In fact, they don't even know about this term. If you don't know, how you can answer that thing? Grammatical range means in IELTS essays, you have to present a variety of structures to the examiner. These structures are simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. Until and unless you know what these structures are, what are the grammatical rules to frame these structures, you will not be able to frame them, and hence you will not get the desired band score. So first thing, please ensure that you are presenting a variety of sentences in your essay, and these variety of sentences are simple, compound, complex and compound complex. Coming on to the task 1. Now task 1 is different in academic and general training. Let's first talk about general training task 1. General training task 1 comprises of 3 types of letters. There are formal letters, semi-formal letters, informal letters. Formal letters are written to a person whom you don't know at all. For example, you are writing to the banking authorities, you are writing to the municipal council, you are writing to the editor of a newspaper. Right? Semi-formal letters are those where you know the person but you are not friends with that person. For example, your landlord or landlady. For example, your boss. These letters will be categorized as semi-formal letters. Informal letters are those where you are writing to a person whom you know very well. For example, your friend, your spouse, your children, your parents. Okay? There are some subtle differences which you need to know when you are writing these letters. First is with regard to the kind of language that you should use. In formal letters, always understand that formal letters, the language should be formal, it should be business-like. Semi-formal letters, you have this leeway of using informal language, but letters should consist mostly of formal words, mostly formal sentences. Last is informal letters. Obviously, as the name suggests, you should use informal language. Right? Now, to help the students, what we have done at 𝐴1 𝐓𝐴𝐬, we have compared a file with another file, and these two files are talking about formal words and informal words. So, on one side, you have formal words, and on the other side, you have informal words. Putting them together helps you judge which word should be used in what context. Coming on to writing task 1 for academic. Now writing task 1 for academic, what you have is you have a chart and you have to summarize the information, you have to explain whatsoever is given in the chart in your own words. The minimum amount of words you have to write in task 1 for both general training and academic is 150, and in task 2 it is 250. But according to me, the ideal word count for task 1 should be between 150 to 200, and for task 2 essay should be 250 to 300 words. Now also another thing which you should keep in mind is the time limit which you have. You have to complete your task 1 and task 2 within 1 hour. So my advice is segregate your time like this: 15 minutes for your task 1, 35 minutes for your essay, and the remaining 10 minutes to proofread both your task 1 and task 2 to remove any grammatical errors or any spelling errors if you have committed. The reason why I am asking you to complete your task within the first 15 minutes, because task 1 will only carry 1/3 of the weightage of bank scores. It means only 33% of your bank scores come from your task 1. The remaining 66% bank scores will come from your essay. And that is the reason essay generally decides what your overall bank scores will be as far as a writing module is concerned. So please ensure that you spend only 15 minutes in task 1, complete your task 1 within 15 minutes, and rest of the time you should spend on essay and proofreading both your essay and task 1. Correct? Now I was talking about academic task 1. Academic task 1, you have to describe a chart. Now the mistake which students do in academic task 1 is they try to explain all the data which they have in the chart, which is not something which is considered very good as far as IELTS examination is concerned. They need to know your linguistic abilities. They are not checking that how good are you at analyzing data, let's say, right? Taking out the statistics. They are not checking that. It is not a general knowledge examination. It is not an examination for math. It is not an examination for statistics. It is an examination to test your linguistic abilities. What is your level as far as English language is concerned? So please take it according to that. What you have to do is you have to describe the data in simple English, that's it. Try to describe it in as lucid manner as possible. Try to describe it in a holistic manner, describing all the highlighting points and skipping over the trivial features, the unimportant ones. Okay? Also, there should be variety in your writing. For example, let's say you are presenting 75%. Now 75% is what? 3 by 4. 75 upon 100 equal to 3 by 4. So instead of writing, let's say 75%, they are saying that 75% of the people smoke cigarette. Instead of saying that 75% people smoke cigarette, what you should say is that 3 out of every 4 persons are smoking cigarette. A good way of representing the same data. A different way of representing the same data, and that will help you fetch better bands. Moving on to the next module, which is reading. Reading again is different for general training and I should say academic. In general training, what you have in reading is, you have 3 sections. Section 1 consists of 2 small passages. Section 2 consists of 2 small passages. And section 3 consists of 1 long passage. In academic, what you have is, you have 3 long passages. Now let me make it clear here itself. Academic reading is tougher as compared to general training reading. Please understand this. This is a fact which you should be aware about. Now, in general training reading, many students, they find issues with time management. So for those students, my advice is start with your section 3 first. Because section 3, one passage alone will help you understand 14 questions. You can answer 14 questions. And once you are done with section 3, you are now only left with 4 small passages. And these passages you can easily handle within 15 to 20 minutes. Right? I think 15 to 20 minutes for section 1 and section 2 is decent time. If let's say you're taking more time, you can go up to 30 minutes. Try to complete your section 1 and section 2 in 30 minutes, section 3 in 20 minutes, and the remaining 10 minutes you can revise those answers in which you have doubt, so that you can recheck it, you can assure yourself that you have marked the correct answer. Okay? For academic, it does not matter which section you start with, because all the passages are long. Section 1, section 2, section 3, you have 3 passages, all of them are long, and they are of average and above average difficulty. But for academic, one advice which I can give you is, which will work wonders for you, is that don't read the questions first, try to understand the passage first and try to do it quickly. Once you have gone through the passage, once you have read the entire passage, after that when you move on to the questions, 50% of the game is already over. You have already won 50% of the battle. Now when you will read the questions, you will remember what you have read and you can answer most of the questions even without revisiting the passage. For some questions, definitely you will need to see where it was written, what is the correct answer, for the spellings as well. Okay? But for many questions, you will be able to answer without moving to the paragraph again. Correct? Coming on to the listening module. Now listening module, I consider it as the easiest module out of all 4 because it is only 30 minutes long and the recording is played. They are speaking in a very clear accent. They are speaking very slow. You can listen to it and you can mark all the answers very easily. But the issue with listening test is when it comes to math questions, when it comes to MCQs. Why students get math questions wrong? because they don't read the data carefully. Data means the map which is presented in front of you. They would have always marked some things on the map, some things for which they have provided the names, and some things will be left blank. You have to fill in those blanks. My advice is for maps, please make sure that you read the data very carefully, understand where the things are located. For example, let's say they have given a playground and on the left side of the map they have given a parking area. So you should be familiar with it. You should know it, that where the parking area is, in which direction it is located, where the playground is, before they even start talking about it. Right? And when they are giving you the questions, please make sure that you are very attentive for the first question. When you are attentive for the first question and if you mark it correct, then very often you will be able to get other answers correct as well. But when you get the first question wrong, then it becomes a big hurdle for you to get other answers correct. Okay? Now, moving on to the next thing, which is MCQs. Now in MCQs, the issue is why students get their MCQs wrong, because they focus on individual words in the options. Please understand, in IELTS, as far as listening test is concerned, they will speak about all the options of the MCQs to confuse you, to make it difficult for you to get the correct answer. The trick to that is that don't focus on the individual words in the MCQs, focus on the complete statement. Try to understand what the person is speaking and try to answer it according to that. If you just pick and choose, very often you will get the answers incorrect. Okay? Coming on to the last thing, which is your speaking module. Now speaking module is really easy, but the issue with speaking is students don't practice it enough. They think they will do it in the examination hall, or they will practice something 1 or 2 days prior to the examination and they will be able to crack it, which never happens. And in speaking also, the particular thing which you should focus more on is your cue card. Cue card is a simple topic in which you have to speak for 2 minutes. Right? Now, if your cue card goes well, your overall scores for speaking module improves a lot. But if your cue card is not good, then it falls down drastically. So my advice is, when it comes to speaking, practice cue card daily. Cue card only takes you 2 minutes to practice it. You can record your voice in your phone and you can play back the recording to yourself if you don't have anyone else to practice with. What you can do is, every day try to practice 2 cue cards. It will take you 4 minutes to speak for that cue card in your phone, and playing it back to you, it will take 4 minutes, and within 8 minutes you will be done with 2 cue cards. So if let's say you are practicing around 4 cue cards every day before your examination and 15 days are left, so within those 15 days you would have practiced 60 cue cards. And 4 cue cards, it takes around 16 minutes to practice 4 cue cards. Very easy. Okay? So these are all the things which you should keep in mind. This is the gist, I would say, of different things which you should know before you sit for examination, so that you can tackle the examination in a better manner. You are in a better position. You have this advantage with you which other students don't have, and you can crack it in the first go itself. Right? That would be all. Thank you and best of luck to all of those who are going to appear in the examination.